Tramping around the flea markets near Hollywood, California, you sometimes come across some interesting showbiz stuff. In this video today, I'm going to show you something I found that I had never seen before, and yet I had seen it hundreds of times. What? Yes, it's kind of like that old riddle, what's black and white and red all over. You know that one, right? I'm talking about something really, really rare, yet it is a thing seen by millions. Well, here, at station breaks on The Tonight Show all through the 1970s, TV watchers would see this graphic. Johnny would say, "We'll return right after this word from our sponsor." And then there would be several words from their sponsor. A lot of words. And they'd show this graphic again, and you would think the show was about to come back on. And sometimes it did. But sometimes it would devolve into a lot more words from sponsors before getting back to Rodney Dangerfield and Doc and Ed and Johnny. So imagine my surprise one day looking through some paper goods at the flea market. Old magazines, stuff like that. And here's this. Now, being an old-school graphics guy myself, I recognized the protective cover sheet. Back before graphics were done on computers, it's what an artist would put over every piece of commercial production art he or she produced. So it's some kind of original commercial art. So I lift up the cover on this thing I had never seen before, and there is something I had seen before, hundreds of times. And if you stayed up later than 11:30 in the 1970s, so did you. Holy moly, it's the Tonight Show station break thingy. The seller at the flea market didn't think it was much, so I got it cheap. I don't remember the price, just a few bucks, I guess. I always remember when it's a lot. This wasn't. So I bought it. I still don't know what to call it, really. I think title card is a fair enough name for it. As I was walking out of the place, I remembered that I had more such title cards at home, older ones that I had found at another flea market years earlier. I'll show you those in a minute. But first, how do I know this is an authentic NBC title card? Well, I don't. I can't prove it. I got it at a flea market less than 10 miles from where The Tonight Show was taped, but there aren't any markings on it that I can see or show to prove it to be genuine. But the thing that convinces me is this. The letters you see here are not in the picture. This isn't just what we would call today a screenshot. No, this is a photo print of Johnny Carson, and the white letters are hand-applied on top of the print. And very well done, I might add. Would you expect less from the graphics people at NBC? You can see when you get close how a bit of the J has rubbed off. These letters were applied by hand, but they are not hand-lettered in the sense of being applied with a pen or brush, the way a sign painter would do it. No, these letters would have been applied from a sheet of something called transfer lettering, sometimes also called press type or rub-on letters. Some of you may remember these sheets. They were used to make headlines or small signs or anything like that in the graphic arts. These are some of those sheets. The ones we're looking at here are from the 1980s. They came in all kinds of styles. The type is almost always in black, but they did make white in some lettering styles, as was used on the Tonight Show graphic. You would rub each letter down, carefully pressing not too hard, not too soft, and trying not to accidentally rub off any adjacent letters or have them rub off from your hand or fingers that were holding the transfer sheet in place. This was very fussy business, and it took a lot of practice to do well. Oh, and here's a white one. Not the same style, of course, but just exactly the sort of sheet that would have been used to apply the lettering to the Tonight Show title card. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but TV these days is jittery all the time. For younger people, it's always been this way. So it might seem hard for some to believe that there were things on TV in the 90s and earlier that held still for a few moments. But there were, and they did. Title cards. And now here are these other ones I mentioned. They are pretty old. I'd guess them to be from the mid to late 1950s. One of them is dated 1956. As the world turns. Walter Cronkite with the news. Rehearsal in progress. Art Linkletter's house party. Oh, my mother liked that one. The Late Show. Big hit movies. The Edge of Night. A generic sort of one. Operational difficulties, please stand by. A seal of good practice. The CBS logo. It's Arthur Godfrey time. Oh yeah, my mother liked him too. When I wanted to get a guitar and be a Beatle, like every other kid in 1965, my mother said absolutely not. There was to be no rock and roll in our house. I remembered vaguely that Arthur Godfrey had played the ukulele, and I pointed this out to my mother, who grudgingly accepted that, yes, okay, maybe I could have a ukulele. And did I make rock and roll on that ukulele? Well, I tried. And here's Panorama Pacific. The Gary Moore Show. The soap opera Search for Tomorrow. And The Guiding Light. Another generic one, this one with the comedy-tragedy masks associated with the theater. Our Miss Brooks. Love of Life. The Brighter Day. I don't remember this one. Hotel Cosmopolitan. I don't remember this one either. The Verdict is Yours. This sounds like what is today called reality TV. I don't know, though. I never saw it. It sounds like something that would have been on TV on a school night way past my bedtime. Douglas Edwards with the news, Monday through Friday. KNXT Weather Vane. So this would be on screen during some weather forecast. KNXT, that's the CBS affiliate in Los Angeles, which became KCBS in 1984. A public service presentation. A dramatized presentation. Big hit movies. Another Panorama Pacific card. Not sure what this means or what this is for. This one has alarm clocks on it going off, whatever that might mean. KNXT Fairbanks Theater. Another Panorama Pacific. And another one, showing an observatory. The CBS Eye logo. And another one. A KNXT presentation. A CBS film presentation, and another one of those. The actual cards are pretty small, but you'd never know it when viewing the graphics at home on the TV. I don't know about you, but when I saw this sort of thing on a television, I would never think of it existing on a card or in any tangible form. It was just something on the screen. If I thought of it at all, I would guess the graphic just floated somewhere in the ether inside a television camera. But no, it's a card. Whereas the Tonight Show card is an original piece with hand-applied type on it, these older title cards appear to be prints, like photo prints made from a negative. I would guess that since these graphics would be shown so frequently during the broadcast day and have to be handled quite often, that they made these prints in order to keep the originals intact. They'd keep the photo negatives they used to make these cards, and whenever the cards got misplaced or too tattered to use on air, they'd just print more from the negative. So are these then not originals? Whether or not something is original is a big deal to collectors, generally speaking. Well, my thinking is that since these are the actual prints you would see when these graphics came on the television, in that sense I think these can and should be considered originals. Oh, and in case you didn't know or have forgotten the answer to the riddle, what is black and white and red all over? It's the newspaper.